Does anybody have any questions from today or any question on how this PAR exercise is going to work? Anybody? Okay, remember now we don't have Paul yet. I asked him if he was ready for this position, and he's not here. And our backup, Raphael, not here. Our backup to Raphael, Sam, not here. They're calibrating their calculators? Okay. Just remember, here's the terms that we're going to be using. You're going to be taking, we're using an 80-20. We're using 6% interest. We are using, thanks so much for that, Valerie, appreciate it. We are using a 25-year amortization. Okay? No, I'm good, thanks. And what we're doing is we're going to go through and take these deals and work them at par. So again, it's very much like the pendulum. It swung to the far left, it's come back, it's swung to the far right, and now we've got to find out how this thing is going to perform in a quote-unquote normal world. Okay, does anybody have any specific questions with regard to how I'm going to do that? Yes?
Is this just a formula in general to get your number? Or
This is.
You have to put in your specific terms, whether it's 70-30.
This is 80-20. I use 80-20 all the time. All the time. All the time.
We gave it the office. He likes your pants. You guys want a room?
Well, we have one of our calculating engineers back, Raphael.
Yes.
Okay, nice of you to show up, Raphael. I just want to let you know that it is 1:32. You ready to go? Okay, so who has brought a deal today? Raise your hands if you brought a deal. How many people that brought a deal have a birthday in June? You brought one with a birthday in June? Okay. What I need for you to do is Yoshi back there or somebody? He's going to be late. But you're my calculating engineer. You got to get back up there. Actually, I'm going to see if where's Dr. Mark Miller? Is Dr. Mark Miller here? Oh, Yoshi. Okay, yeah, you can help me. I would have Dr. Mark Miller help me, but he's not in the room. So Yoshi, if you could help me, what I'd like you to do, he's going to give me the components of his deal, and I'm going to go through it up there.
Okay.
It's right here on the end.
Okay.
Okay. You tell Dr. Mark Miller he missed out. Okay, so what's the first name?
Mike,
Mike, right. I knew that. Mike, how many
units,
how many units do you got?
12.
And what's the city?
Chicago,
Okay. What is the sales price?
250,000.
Okay. Now, what is the NOI?
Shoot, I got expenses.
Let me ask that another way. What is the NOI?
70.
70,000. Okay, now, I want you to kind of realize that I'm going to run the same thing over and over. Now, if we run the cash return on investment and I get a very high return, obviously something's going on there. You don't need me to work that more to get a specific return. I'm really looking for a few of these deals to come in between 5 and 15, but let's see where this comes in, okay? So immediately, my calculating engineer, Paul,
15,645.
with a backup to Raphael, is figuring out my debt service per year. He's using an amortizing calculator. And he says my debt service is
15,645.
15,645. So immediately what I want them to do is subtract the 15,645 from the 70,000, and we get what?
54,358.
54,358. That is our CADs or our cash flow.
What? That can't be right. How can that not be right?
That's right.
Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. That's right, right?
No, the last number was right. 355.
Okay, 355. Listen, we're not going to worry about the last number there. Don't worry, please, relax. But I do want to make a point here. Paul, I'm only as good as the information you give me, right? That's one mistake. If we get another one, I may have to consider going to my alternative, Raphael. Okay? All right, a lot of pressure on you, buddy. Okay, so our CADs is our cash flow. The first thing that I'm going to do is take my cash flow and put this up here to figure a couple of things. Number one, I want to figure my cap rate. So I'm going to take my net operating income of $70,000 and divide it by my asking price of $250, and I get a cap rate of, Paul?
Sorry, I did the cash on cash first. My bad. 28.
A cap rate of 28? Is that what you're telling me? Okay, so right away, without even knowing anything about this deal, Mike, have I ever seen this deal before?
Have you?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so I don't know where it is. I know it's in Chicago, but that's a big place. A cap rate of 28 is telling me that that income stream, the NOI, is probably unstable. That's what that's telling me, a high cap rate. Now, we're not talking about return on investment yet. I'm just talking about stability of income and what that high cap rate could be indicating to me, okay?
Okay.
So the second thing that I want to find out that I do on every single deal, step number 2, is I'm going to figure out cash return on investment. So to do that, I'm going to take CROI. So I'm going to take my cash flow or CADs at 54,358 and divide it by my initial investment, which would be 20% of the asking price, which would be what, $50,000?
Yep.
So obviously you can see my return is what, Paul?
1.08.
So it's 108%. Now, you don't need me to teach you how to get a better return than 108%, right? So the point that I want to make is what's happening with this particular property that is skewing the numbers. So Mike, is it a foreclosure? Is it empty? What's going on there?
I think it's a foreclosure.
You think it's a foreclosure?
It's a foreclosure.
Okay, it is a foreclosure. So something's happening that is skewing the numbers. Okay, this was maybe a good beginning one to go off of because I can't really work this more to get a better return. You already got one there.
Okay.
Your job here is to take and finish the investigation. Why did it go into foreclosure? How is it cash flowing? What is the occupancy, by the way? Do you know?
I don't know that.
Okay, so you're going to have to find out the occupancy. You're going to have to find out market rent, how you're going to manage it, all of that stuff, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to another one. Who else has a deal that has a birthday in June? You do, okay? You have a quick question?
Yeah,
Yeah, just about that one there, like, would you maybe plug in some numbers like, 12 units at 750, try to figure out like a par kind of scenario?
I would only if, his question is, would I plug in some numbers? I would only after I find out what's going on, foreclosure, stuff like that, because my information is going to be skewed until I find the real baseline story of what's happening there, okay? Okay, who's got it now?
Asking is
First name.
Charles.
Charles, that's right. Wait a minute. You raised your hand, and now Charles has the mic.
He doesn't want to talk, so I'll talk for him.
Okay. Okay, all right. So Charles, how many units?
24.
Okay, 24 units. In what city?
Near a suburb of Atlanta.
Okay, so we'll just say Atlanta. Okay. Now, what is the sales price?
950.
$950. What is the NOI?
106.
Okay, so immediately Paul's going to get to work and do 80%, and he's figuring out the annual debt service on that number. So Paul, do you have that?
59,452.
59,452. If you subtract that from your 106, what do you get? Oop, that's cash flow.
46,548.
46,548. Can I see that calculator? Is that your phone? Okay. Looks like the buttons are real small and you're having, it's like you got sausage fingers or something and you're just, anyway, okay. So you got 46,548. That is our cash flow. I'm going to do the same thing over and over again. The first step is to look at the cap rate. So in step 1, cap rate is going to be net operating income of 106 divided by the sales price of 950, and you get what? 11.2. Now, this is the cap rate of the deal that I'm working on. I've got to say, what is the cap rate of the market that this deal is in? In other words, this is just like taking a product off the shelf at a store and looking at the price and saying, you know what, for here, this is expensive. Or for here, wow, this is a good deal, I'm going to buy this. So Charles, what is the cap rate of the market there in Atlanta?
Between 7 and 8%.
Okay, so between 7 and 8. Let's take a pause here and say, if the cap rate is 8 and this deal is 11, just from what we know about that aspect of cap rate, are we on the right side of a deal or the wrong side of a deal? The right side of a deal. Because the market at a cap rate of 8 is telling us that deal should be more expensive than a cap rate of 11. Let me show you this in another realm. If the cap rate of the market is truly 8, we should be able to take this NOI of 106,000, Paul, and dividing it by 0.08, and that's going to tell us what the value should be if what you're telling me is correct.
1,325,000.
1,325,000. So if the value, or if the cap rate of the market is truly 8 in that area of Atlanta, if we divide the cap rate into the NOI of 106,000, we should have a value on that property of 1.3, a little over 1.3 million. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So it looks like we've got the formulation of a deal here. Before I go further, Charles, is there anything that I should know about this deal?
It's in the suburb of Atlanta, so it's kind of far away from, about an hour away from Atlanta. It's 100% occupied, but there's 4 units that are vacant, so I can do a play of.
Okay, now wait a minute. It's 100% occupied, but there is 4 vacant units. Now that's a heck of a marketing plan right there. hey, yeah, we've got this 24-unit building. It's 100% occupied, but you are going to have 4 or 5 or 6 vacancies here.
That's what the rent roll said.
Wow, that's
So I'm-
pretty cool how
I'm
they
thinking
did
it's-
that. That's like saying, we have got an awesome car to sell you. It is a piece of crap, but it is awesome. Okay, so, Charles, my next step is to run cash return on investment. Remember that grid that I showed you earlier, 0 to 5, 5 to 15, okay? That's where we want to take this. So, in number 2, cash return on investment, we are taking our cash flow of 46,548 divided by our initial investment. In this case, it's 20% down, so how much is that? 190,000. And we get 24.5%. Okay, 24.5%. Now, if we go to that grid, 0 to 5, 5 to 15, and greater than 15, that tells us at 24.5% that something's going on here. I'm going to proceed, but proceed with caution. Think of it this way, and this is why I do this PAR exercise. In a perfect world, for you to put your money into something as an investment, and without getting tricky, without doing anything special, you get almost a 25% return on investment. Doesn't that seem too good to be true? Like something's happening there? That's why I run this exercise. Because I want to make sure that you know that you need to be protected against stuff like that. From the surface, it's like, wow, 25%, that's a great deal. There's always something underlying on that deal. Is there any other information you can give me with regard to that?
No, the area might be like, I'm not sure about the area. I got to break down the area. It's like it's far away from. I don't know if it's part of Metro Atlanta, so it might be a suburb or far
Okay.
away from a suburb. So that's probably why.
Now, is this your deal or his deal?
It's our deal.
Oh, it's okay. You just borrowed his birthday. I got it.
Ew.
Now, let me just show you one other thing before we move on. I'm really looking for something that comes in between 5 and 15, but let me show you something. If we were to go to the next step here, the next step, by the way, would be to run the debt service coverage ratio. And that formula, as you know, is the NOI of 106,000 divided by the debt service of 59,452. What do we get?
1.78.
1.78, a very high debt service coverage ratio. Something's not jiving with this deal. You're seeing this, right? The numbers look phenomenal. The problem is they look too phenomenal. And just for the mere fact that they would say we've got 100% occupancy with the exception of these 4 vacancies, something's not, you see what I'm, right? Okay. So let's go to a next one. You need more investigation there is what I'd recommend in really finding out what's happening there. Who has got a birthday? You have a question on that? Okay.
Okay, so you get to that point where you need to proceed, investigate. What do you look for?
Well, her question is, did we have questions over here, Robert? I didn't know if we had questions over here. Okay, I was just checking. Again, this is so ironic, me keeping the class quiet, given my background, right? I'm just kidding. You good? So her question over here is, what do you look for? I'm calling the agent or whoever it is. I'm saying, what's going on with that? Is it foreclosed on? Is it about to be foreclosed on? Is it a short sale? Is it 100% occupied but no one's paying rent? Is it bad management? All of those things you got to find out and find out what's this deal is being, how it's being operated. The skeleton, remember, income, expenses, NOI, debt service, cash flow. You've got to investigate all of those 5 things. Okay? You good? You clear?
I understand those things, but I would like to know specifically what to look for each one. Okay, find out.
Specifically, let's just stop at income. I would say at income, what is your income like? You're 100% occupied, but how much income are you bringing in? If you've got, what was that, 24 units? If you've got 24 units and the average rent is $700, 700 times 24 should give you X amount of rent per month. In real world, I don't think it does. That's one of the things that I'm looking for. Actual numbers compared to what they should be, okay?